Now, I don't know whether you come at this story from a kind of an instinctive, where is our affiliation? I've always felt our affiliation is with the United States. An Atlanticist, I think, is the correct terminology. That, to me, is the area where I think we've had greater commonality. I think in terms of trading and understanding of where Western democracies stand, I've always felt just a greater affinity with America than, for example, Luxembourg. You know, nothing wrong with Luxembourg, by the way, or any of the other countries in Europe. But it's instinctively, despite the proximity and the geography of the thing, it's always felt to me that that is where it stands. Now, that might hark back to a kind of sort of Thatcher-Reagan thing, when everything seemed a little more tickety-boo. Not as tickety-boo, if you read the history books, not as tickety-boo as we actually thought at the time. But nonetheless, that was a solid relationship, and there were good reasons for it at the time. Communism, the Iron Curtain, the Berlin Wall, nuclear deterrence, etc. All of that fed into that perception to me. And as a kid, who didn't like the Stars and Stripes, a bit of Disney, those amazing views of the Grand Canyon, Las Vegas? I mean, everything about the state seemed, I can remember as a kid discovering that, a couple of things as a kid about America. Do you remember that when you saw an American TV show, children had phones in their bedrooms? We didn't even have a phone in our house when I was that age. It was extraordinary. They not just had phones, they had phones with about 60 foot's worth of cable attached. Could walk around with these things. Wow, what's going on here? This is the place to be. This is the land of milk and honey. This is the land of free, where you can be what you want to be. You get a house point if you know whose lyric that was. So yes, America ticked all of those boxes. Everything about it. Multi-channel television. Wow, I used to go to school going, do you know America's got 30 channels? As we sit here today, I think we have more channels in this country than anywhere else on the planet. If you call them channels, that is. Thank you, Grandad. You take the point. So America has always felt that that's where it's at. The EU was a bit more of a kind of business thing. You know, you trade with these countries. If you go there on holiday, I love Spain. I'm a Francophile. Love France. I think it's one of the most stunning countries on earth. Paris is an absolute joy, and all the rest of it. But as time has gone on, I've sort of slowly realised that actually there ain't much going on for us in America compared to the European Union. Now, Starmer says he wants to invest deeper than ever in the United States, but he did caveat that by saying that there's no priority here over the EU. It's not an either or. He says we can do both. You don't have to choose. He rejected any suggestion that we have to. Certain people coming into the Trump administration are suggesting, well, it's either us or it's Brussels, etc. This is not about Brexit, by the way, and don't let that confuse or foggy the waters or muddy the waters or foggy the scene in any kind of way. There's long been speculation that President Trump may launch a trade war against Europe. That would have a massive effect on this country. There's also talk that he will reduce support for Ukraine and even NATO. And in those circumstances, of course, Britain would come under some real pressure to take sides. Mr. Starmer said, against the backdrop of these dangerous times, the idea that we must choose between our allies, that somehow we're either with America or with Europe, is plain wrong. He said, I reject this utterly. Attlee did not choose between allies. Churchill did not choose. The national interest demands that we work with both. And he said there is no growth without security and no security without alliances. It is worth noting, of course, we do massively trade more with the EU than the United States. And if you consider our exports, for example, to America, about 100 billion quid. That's a lot of money. But our exports to the EU, 290, near 300 billion quid, in fact. So there is more to be gained in terms of trading from the EU than there is the United States. My guess on Donald Trump, look, will Donald Trump deliver anything that he's talked about delivering when it comes to things like tariffs, when it comes to immigration? I mean, immigration, the uncomfortable fact for Trump is that Obama deported more illegal immigrants than Donald Trump did when he was in the White House. What will the direction of travel be? He's got a real battle on his hands. I don't disagree with many of the words from Donald Trump. The sentiment is spot on. Saying it and doing it are two entirely different things. So will this tariff thing even happen in this way? And if it does happen, will it extend to Europe? We know that China, Canada, Mexico are all within the sights of Mr. Trump. Will the EU suffer a similar problem as those countries? And if they do, we catch a cold as well whenever America sneezes on the tariff debate. Where is our interest best served? I don't think Trump has any special affiliation for the United Kingdom. I know he's got a Scottish mum. I know he's got businesses over here. I think Trump is Team America, how it should be in many respects, and that's fine. But where does that leave us? I don't think Trump will look at the United Kingdom as the place he's got to do an enormous amount of beer. I don't think we're going to be winkled out for any big favour anytime soon. And in fact, I'm not absolutely sure that any American administration, despite the special relationship, by the way, spoiler alert, America claims a special relationship with France, with Germany, with Japan, with India, with almost any country where the president is having a visit. So yes, we have got a demonstrable special history with America. I don't know if we still have. And I find that a bit sad. Maybe it's an inevitable situation. So where is the UK's future best served? With America or with the European Union?